Each year, I like to explore new rutting areas. This year, I'm starting with a trip to a low-altitude mountain range with mixed forests that I partially explored a few years ago. I know this area is well populated with red deer. In the lower areas, the rut begins a bit sooner, but it is believed that the stags here develop larger antlers because of the more nutritious food. But the downside is that they are much harder to see because they're more wary of human presence, and the undergrowth in these forests is generally more luxurious. I start my hike very early as my goal is to reach the supposed rutting area before daylight. As I make my way up through the dark, I stop from time to time to listen for roaring stags. On the road, I see a wolf track right next to a bear track, and a bit further, a fire salamander. Although I am a bit disheartened that there are no roars to be heard, I am pleasantly surprised to hear an Eurasian pygmy owl. There are no documented sightings from this lower area, so it's a good find. The tawny owls are also very active. While light is still dim, I slowly and carefully make my last 200 meters to this small meadow surrounded by thicket. Experience tells me that this is a perfect place for deer to eat and hide. After a while, I finally hear my first roar of the year. A stag is roaring from atop a kilometer away, but its roars are short and far between. A hazel grouse starts singing in a tree 10 meters away from me, and while I try filming it, I suddenly hear something in the thicket at my left. Through the thick bushes, I catch a glimpse of a deer's legs and hear the sound of antlers hitting small trees. It's a stag. After a good 15 minutes, I hear it chasing hinds, and finally, after another 5 minutes, the stag appears in the meadow. It's not the strongest stag, and certainly not the oldest. One can tell just by looking at its still slim neck. Contrary by what many think, the number of beams on a stag's antler doesn't coincide with its age. This one probably won't keep its hinds by the end of the rutting season. There are stronger stags out there. The song of the hazel grouse catches its attention too. As it continues to chase the hinds further into the thicket, I decide to leave and instead try to approach the stag that was roaring a while ago. On the way, I find all kinds of signs of deer presence. Also, bear tracks from at least 3 different bears. In the place where the stag was roaring earlier, I only find very fresh tracks, but the stag itself is nowhere to be seen. I hear it approximately 300 meters away in an impenetrable thicket, so I let it be and find myself a fallen tree, along which I take a short nap. In the evening, I explore a new area and see a lot of tracks and also hear some stags, but eventually don't see any deer. Next morning, I explore another area, but same thing. I spook a couple of hinds and hear at least 4 stags, of which 2 I'm very close seeing, but I still don't succeed in filming a single deer. Indeed, deer in this area are very hard to film. In the evening of the second day, I finally have some luck. This time I encountered 2 young stags. that don't roar yet, but it's fun enough seeing them practice fighting with each other in preparation for the years to come. In the vicinity, a few mature stags can be heard roaring from time to time, but nothing too serious. Patience. It's still the beginning of the rut.